My name is Veronica Pryor Fashion, and I am a overcomer of over 28 years of incestuous abuse. I'm the oldest of 5 children, 4 living. And when it started was when my baby sister was born, because when he came to me, he told me, "You don't want anything to happen to your little sister, do you?" And I'm looking like, "What are you talking about? I'm 5. And he was like, "Do you want me to hurt your little sister?" And I was like, "No." "Then if you don't want me to hurt your little sister, or if you don't want me to leave your mom, because you don't want your mom sad, do you?" And I was like, "Well, no." "Well, then if you don't want these things, then you're going to allow me to do this, and you're not going to tell anyone, because what goes on in this house has to stay in this house." As we grew older, that's when I found out that he had started touching her too. And it was around the same age, because I was 10 when she came to me. So she had to be close to 5. And when I went to my mom to try to tell her, because he used to be abusive to her, I know, like, over the years and everything. And he was very smart with like doing troubleshooting on electrical stuff and mechanical things. Like I said, it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know how he would come home. And you can be trying to walk on eggshells because you just wanted peace. You didn't want him to be fussing at you. You didn't want, because even trying to learn how to do math or certain things, if he spent time with you, you would get hit for making mistakes. Like I said, it was just a life of living, walking on eggshells. I remember we used to go to one of my cousins, my older cousin's house, and she used to watch us. She started noticing some things changing us, because I know she had spoke to me about it. And she said, I brought it to my mom, well, her mom, which was my grandmother's old sister. And she said, and she questioned my birth father. And when she did that, he stopped allowing us to go over there for her to babysit us. It's so disheartening, because as I got older, the sexual acts, because at first it started out with rubbing his body parts on my mouth when I was young. It was no penetration at that time. Then he would go from there as I got older and start rubbing it on my private parts. And he would just rub until I got older. And I think as I got older, and when I brought it to my mom about my little sister, because when he told me, my sister told me that he had started touching her, I remember being extremely angry. And I'm like, he lied to me. He told me that he wouldn't hurt her if I did these things. Then he also used the Bible. So it was it's like he started grooming me at a young age. Boy, it would say that I'm his concubine and he had the right to do these things. And as I got older, it was more things that he groomed me for. We would go to church nonstop. In a community, we looked like the perfect family. Nobody knew what was going on behind closed doors. And he knew that nobody would really believe what was going on behind closed doors, because how he carried himself. And as we got older, then I had 2 of my brothers was born, and later on my baby brother was born, and we are 16 and a half, almost 17 years apart. My baby brother, however, just passed. In 2022, he had an aneurysm. And I used to ask him, because he played semi-pro ball, and he played ball in school, and he was a pretty big young man. And I just noticed that he started going down. And I was like, "Tim, what's wrong? What is going on?" And he wouldn't talk about it. I remember one time one of my brothers called me, and he was like, "You need to come check on him. He's spazzing out, and I don't know what's going on." I call an ambulance, and he's not cooperating. Because I was the oldest, I almost felt like it was my fault, because I didn't want to be alone in that house when I prayed for siblings. He never sexually assaulted my brothers. He used to be physically abusive to them. As I got older, that's when he started penetrating me. Anytime if I would try to bring a guy around, he would run them off. And it was so bad that, like, when it was time for prom and all those things, I never had a chance to experience. I never had a chance to experience none of those things like normal children would. Because I remember starting to work at the age of 12. They had this JTPA web program where you can take and work during the summer. And I started working because as I got older, and that was, like I said, around the age of 12, he started having problems with working, and I guess his mental health started going down. And I remember asking, "Why don't you go get you some help? Nothing wrong with me. I have Lord in my heart," and all this other stuff. And if you ever questioned him, you would get beat. You just didn't want to do that. But I had a mouth on me, and I still have a mouth on me when I feel it's a need to speak up. And I used to speak up for myself. I went from working during the summer to working at Popeyes, and I was making $3.35 an hour. And I remember, because I was around 16, asking for more and more hours because I wanted to make sure my siblings had the stuff that they needed for school. And I stayed there so long because so many people always ask me the question, why did you stay? Because I felt obligated to take care of my siblings and my mom, because I used to watch like for their anniversaries when I was getting older. He would never buy anything, and he would always try to tear her down to the lowest extremes. I graduated with honors. I had high grades, I think like a 3-point something average. I had scholarships. I was going to nursing school, and nobody knew. In the midst of all that, I still was watching the door every night. A lot of times I didn't get sleep, and I learned how to deal with going without sleep because I wanted to make it. I had to get me out of that house and my siblings. As I got older, I went to college, and I wound up having to drop out of nursing school because I was facing some other challenges at that specific nursing school because of my color that I wasn't used to. Because the school that I went to for high school, all my friends was different races, and so their families never treated me differently because I was Black. Well, when I went to college, that was a different experience from the nursing school when I got accepted into. So I was like, I can't do this. I got too much I'm dealing with at home. I can't deal with this too. So I dropped out and I applied to 2 HBCUs, Xavier and Dillard. I didn't even know what I was going to go to school for. I just knew I had to go to school because I had to get me out, and my sisters, them, and my brothers, them, out that situation. So I went to Xavier University of Louisiana, and I majored in accounting. Did good there as well. But my father at that time had stopped working for others and had opened up his own mechanic shop. And he was working at this big company where fixing on their 18-wheelers or what have you. Well, I remember one time I was telling my mom, I said, Mom, I can get us out of this. I was going to get an apartment because I could take out student loans and take out debt, and I was working still. And I was like, you can get out of this situation. I'm going to just say before nighttime came, she hadn't told him, because he had been groomed us to tell. We would feel, I know the same thing, that I felt if I didn't tell him, he always told us he would know. I know what you're thinking. In hindsight, it's like, how would somebody know what you're thinking? But when you've been beat down, when you've been molested, raped, because he would say that he's doing this to save. I don't want you to get out there in these streets and get a disease or what have you. As I got older and we were working at that shop, I remember one instance, like I told you, when I was telling my mom, and she wound up telling it, and he said, oh, you think you're gonna be able to get out of this? He was taking control of any money that I had. I wasn't allowed to have anything. He said that God made us to take care of him, just like Mary and Martha and them was taking care of Jesus in the Bible and everything, that we're supposed to be his servants and take care of him. That instance, he would make me, when that happened, when I told her that and I was trying to get them out, I remember he would say, oh, you don't want to be a part of this family? He would make me sit on the floor and eat my food like a dog out of a bowl. Sometimes it got to the point like he would forcibly, when he started having sex with me, it was like he was taking hate out on me. As I got older and I was able to move to Baton Rouge, found a job as an auditor. And I asked my brother, my middle brother, if I could move in with him. I still had not told them what was going on. And I'm thinking, finally, I'm out this situation. And that was in 1999. When I had the interview, I remember the interviewing team, they was like, we see what you're making now. Do you understand you taking more than a half of a pay cut to work here? I'm like, I'm fine. And they was like, you willing to do this? I'm like, yes, ma'am. And they were confused. It was like, that doesn't make sense. I was like, I just want to try something different. So I thought I finally got away. Well, in February of 2000, I got a phone call that they didn't know if my mom was going to live because she had experienced trauma and they had to do brain surgery. It was late at night. And I was in Baton Rouge and they were still down in New Orleans, in the New Orleans area. I told them what had happened with my mom. When I got down there, Dr. Kalikia, which was one of the top brain surgeons in our area, he came to talk to me because my father looked like he was all distraught. But on our way driving down there, I'm thinking, what did he do her? Because it's like, I'm out the situation and I thought things was gonna be safe because my other siblings had to moved out. My baby sister she was married long before I was. And so I'm thinking it's safe. He's not gonna touch Timothy. That's a boy. he may fuss, he may do that, but he's not going to touch him. But I guess he got extra irate with my mom because both of the arteries in the back of her brain were severed. And Dr. Galicia came to speak to me, and I knew what he meant. He was like, we know there's some type of trauma because this just does not happen. This is not from blood pressure. This is from some type of force, but we can't see anything from when we're doing surgery. Do you need to talk to me? And I just looked at him. And so I was like, well, sir, I don't know. I wasn't there. I stay in Baton Rouge. I'm not sure what happened. But in the back of my mind, I think I remember Mom having like 2 or 3 miscarriages because of the things that he did. It got so bad one time when he did, after she wound up coming through it, because the next day she whispered what happened. They thought she was going to be a vegetable, and she survived. And it was like, it's a miracle. And my stomach, I was sick to my stomach because I remember needed to go get, it was like, we need to get some clothes. So I was thinking, well, I'll go get her clothes or whatever. And I was just going to leave to go to the store and go buy some. And he said, I'm coming with you. So went there. And of course, he raped me when I got home. And I'm thinking, your wife is in a hospital, barely making it. And this is where your mind is at. I was paying all the bills and taking care of everything. My mom was too, because she was a paraprofessional in the school system down there. Well, when she got sick and stuff like that, that's when I found out he hadn't been paying anything because her salary wasn't enough to do that, and I wasn't sending any money home. I was taking care of my own. I thought finally I was out this situation. Well, when I got home to go get her clothes, and then I was leaving, I went to check the mailbox, and I saw a letter that said that they were about to foreclose on the home. And I'm like, do you know this is going on? He was like, well, that's your responsibility. You should have took care of that. And so, of course, their house got foreclosed on and the bank took it. Well, I was made to get a U-Haul truck for them to pack their stuff and to get ready to get out of there. And I'm like, well, where are you driving? Because I'm leaving. Well, we're going up to the country. The country was where I was staying with my family. Because when my mom got sick, I wound up taking my little brother, and he needed to go to school. But because of the type of job I had with the state, I did a lot of driving because of the audits around the state, and he needed stability. So my aunt let it be, say, come stay with me, and I'll help you with him. Well, he wound up moving back up here, and he wound up moving with my other aunt. Well, I'm still thinking I'm safe because I'm in the house with the other one. Well, they wound up talking my aunt into getting my grandparents' house and fixing it up. He was like, so we could stay in the house together. On June 14th, 2004 was the last night I was raped by my father. And it was the night before my wedding. And I was up there saying, I never knew that David had unctions of what was going on, because he would say, Veronica, hindsight, he said, when I would get you flowers, he would always get mad. And if I'm holding your hand, I watch how he'd be jealous. And he was like, I would walk so many times at my apartment because he was like, the way he's acting, like that's his woman. And he was like, it just didn't make sense. And so the night of my wedding, after we said our vows, I said, David, I need to tell you something. And he was like, what? I was like, and I want to let you know that it's pretty heavy. And if you choose not to be married to me, it's okay. And so the night of our wedding, I told him what was happening to me. And he cried, and he was like, I knew it. He said, but why you didn't say something sooner? I would have took you out of that. And I was scared because he was trying to hurt him and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, this just didn't make sense. Because now I had to drop the balls. I got a husband now, so I had support. And so because I had to told David everything before we went to go on our honeymoon and all that other good stuff. And he was like, no matter what, I'm going to be here for you. One day, my aunt called. And she was like, you need to check on your mom, because it looked like she had a black eye. Then I kept having nightmares that something was happening to my little cousin. And so I checked on my mom, and she was like, no, I'm fine. But she wouldn't take the shades off. I'm thinking she's not fine. And that same night, because David came over there with me, my little cousin came out the room, and she hollered. She told her, go put some clothes on. And when I left out there, when we left, it was just something in my stomach. And David, when we left, and I bust out crying as he was driving. He was like, what's wrong? I was like, he touching her. He was like, how do you know that? I said, because those words, she said them same words when somebody came to visit to me. And my sister, I said, he's touching her. She had already been molested. That's why she was up here. He's touching her. And he was like, but Veronica, you don't know that. That's like, I just feel it. I feel it. He said, but she hasn't said nothing. So I would try to ask. He was like, and she never would say anything. Well, one time my great aunt, was talking to her granddaughter about good touches and bad touches. And my little cousin said, you mean like my pawpaw? Because that's what she called her, my daddy. My pawpaw doing me? And that's when it came out. And so I called my auntie, which was his sister, to come get her. And so my aunt was saying, she called my grandfather. She was like, Roosevelt, you need to get over here. So he talked to him, and they kept telling him, you need to get you some help. Well, listen. And so my aunt had to took her grandchildren and everything. And then they kept calling me about my mom. Because, of course, she's there by herself with my little brother. I don't know what he was seeing because he still was with them. And this was like after 2003 because he had then graduated. And, of course, I was married in 2004. So I was like, I didn't tell my husband. I didn't tell no one else. Like, I'm going to press charges. I had to get my mind together because if I was going to be press charges, I knew I had to air out all of our dirty laundry. When I went to go press charges, I didn't know my aunt and my little cousin had already started the process for her. And so they were saying, you mean this person here? And they had a picture of him. They was like, he's already under investigation. And I was like, I said, I don't want my little cousin to have to go through testifying. I said, I will testify myself. I can do this. And I was like, because I don't want her to go through this. And so they had to, she was like, it's going to take some time. And I don't remember how much time, but I remember getting a call when they said they was going to pick him up. Well, once they picked him up, the investigator said, it's like he was relieved. And with me going to testify, he wound up saying he would take a plea. And so they wanted to give him 50 years. Well, they wanted to give him more than that, but he pleaded to so many charges. So it was like 4 charges based on his age, and me still hoping that he would change because I knew something had happened to him. I knew that he was, and I'm thinking people do things because of their life's experiences. And I was hoping that he would change, or at least have a chance to change and possibly get out in his older years. So I said, why don't y'all give him 30 years, year for year that he messed with me? They did not agree with it. They talked to me a long time. My husband, none of them agreed with it. But I was hell-bent on him having a possibility. And so the judge said, I'm going to do this because he told him, he said, but your daughter's still trying to show you grace. The same one that you said hated you is trying to show you grace and give you a possibility of getting out. He said, but I'm going to write on your jacket. I don't care if you go to parole or not. I don't want you out. And so they gave him 30 years. And so his release date, I think it's supposed to be like 2035. He's been going up for parole every 2 years. Every 2 years they would allow him. And after my baby brother passed, because when my mom passed, I wasn't able to do anything. So my cousin had to go to get the release sign for me to even bury my mom, because she was still married for as the state was concerned. And she was like, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. So she took care of that. He didn't come to the funeral. Of course, we didn't want him to. He had the opportunity to come, but he didn't come. I guess he was going to be embarrassed because, of course, he was a well-known minister. And he didn't want, I guess, to be seen in shackles or whatever. With my mom and my brother both experiencing the aneurysms, because I don't know what happened to her that night or what actually triggered my brother. But I know that it's just like an explosion. You keep in so much and you just explode, because we all have blood pressure problems. And so it is my thought that because of them not being able to deal with all that trauma and the thoughts that just kept cycling the negative thoughts, instead of turning to the positive and leaning on things that was positive, they just kept the question of why. Because I know when I was in that state, and I just happened to live through mine, when I was in the bed, sleeping days in after I would come home from work, not wanting to do anything, and I just kept, why? And to me, that became a curse word, because you will never get the answer as to why somebody does something. I had to make the decision, in spite of whatever the why is it going to heal me? And no, it wasn't. So I had to get the how. How can I make myself better? Do I want this to go on to my children? My husband deserved better than that, because in the bed, he had to be very mindful. You couldn't come up on me because I was startled easy. I would fight in my sleep. He was like, Veronica, it's like you was having sex in your sleep. And it's like all those different things stayed in me for the longest. And now he's like, you're actually resting, because I had blood pressure problems, sugar problems, diabetes, like all kinds of problems. And now my body is at, how you say, in a balanced state. Do I still have problems? Yes, I do. I looked at it and I say, why not me? I have the capability, and why not me being able to do this? Because I'm able to show others that, you know what? You may have had a trauma, no matter what it may be, but you can get out if you choose to. Everything is a choice. And I chose to get out. It doesn't stop me, like I say, from having challenges. My triggers are not as excessive. Can I go to the family church? No, because he would rape me a lot of times right before going to church that morning. It's hard for me sometimes to even go to a church, but I still have my beliefs. I still worship my God, because I know that he didn't make him do that he had a free will, and that's what he has to pay for. And that's what he is paying for. And it didn't make sense for me, to him to be in prison, and I stay in prison in my mind. Only one thing is, I want to encourage those, no matter what your trauma is, especially females, especially females, and if you're a mother, a sister, and you're trying to raise children, you can raise successful children, even going through your own mental health challenges because of your trauma. You just have to be consistent and be honest with them. And then, and you'll start seeing the fruits of your labor, the fruits of you reparenting yourself for what you need, because nobody knows what you need like you do.